said earlier, my name is John Rattray, and like Gina mentioned, I am CEO of the company Sparkware that's located here in Pittsburgh and East Liberty. Sparkware does an interesting thing. It has an interesting value that I'll get into in a little bit. But to sum up what my presentation will be, it's really going to give you an opportunity to see how I've been able to combine my passions and interests and show you how, honestly, how you can do it as well. I hope that in hearing my story, you'll get a sense of how non-glamorous my journey was in getting to be CEO of my own company. It wasn't as though, you know, I was born into an environment where running a company was really nurtured. Nobody around me ran a company. It was just something that I was interested in, and I kept on looking into different ways to really feed that passion, and over time it became a reality. So I really hope that, you know, in hearing my story, you can, you know, pull some elements out of it that that you'll find relatable, and hopefully will motivate you if you're interested in entrepreneurship like I was. So again, my company is Sparkware, and so we're going to do a little engaging thing right here. All of you are familiar with social media, yeah? I would like for someone to quickly just shout out what you think one of the top 5 most downloaded social media apps is. Top 5. It went backwards. Just yell it out. What do you think it is?
Instagram.
Say it again?
Instagram.
That's one of them. Somebody else name another one.
Snapchat.
Snapchat's the second one.
Facebook.
Facebook's a third.
TikTok.
TikTok. Oh, I should have checked again recently. At the time I made these slides, which was a month ago, it wasn't top. It was getting there. It was on the rise, but it wasn't top 5. So still have 2 more.
Twitter?
Wasn't Twitter. Someone yell out one more. Hopefully we'll get lucky. Get the 4th one. Nothing? All right.
Netflix.
It wasn't Netflix. Oh, and it depends on what you consider to be social media. And it's also a little bit cheap because Messenger is sort of like tied into Facebook, but according to Google, these are the top 5 most downloaded apps. So that's Facebook, Messenger, WhatsApp, Instagram, and Snapchat. And this is pretty staggering. I'm just gonna add because Facebook owns all 4, or the first 4, which is just Facebook's taken over. So these are the top 5 most downloaded apps, and they're really valuable in helping us to connect, right? You can use these apps and you can share photos, you can talk to somebody instantly, you can poke somebody. They offer so much value in staying connected. But something that I realize is that these apps, they don't really provide value for connecting with other people in person, right? You never go up to somebody and say, hey, let me Facebook, like, let's use Messenger together, right? You never, I mean, some people will stand next to one another and kind of like flick through Instagram and go through their feed together, but it really doesn't provide that value of being in person and connecting with one another on that physical level. So this has really been my goal in starting Sparkware, is to use technology that has become so popular and so valuable, and find a way to use it to help people connect in person. So the way that we do that is with an app and also a physical component as well, these wristbands. So you would type in the number that shows up on a wristband, like you see here, number 7, that goes to the iPad, you hit the connect button, and you start to respond to questions that you identify with. So questions could be, what's your home state, Pennsylvania? It could be, you know, what's your favorite Netflix show? It could be, if you go to a freshman orientation, or yes, if you go to a freshman orientation, what is your major? Biological sciences, computer engineering, you know, all these different things that that identify yourself. And then as you walk around in that physical space and you get within 15 feet of somebody else, if you have something in common with them, you'll start to get alerts on your wristband that would say, hey, you and Paul both like playing soccer, or you and Janelle both are computer engineers. And so by doing this, this really helps facilitate people connecting with one another and figuring out who has things in common with them. So since COVID happened, networking, social and networking events has really subsided. And so for that reason, Sparkware has pivoted for the time being to, instead of using that proximity component of our technology to help connect people and give them personalized introductions, we can actually use that same technology to give people heads up on how well they're social distancing, and also keep a track of who comes in contact with whom. So it's sort of contact tracing using a physical hardware. So that's how we've been able to make a pivot, which kind of seems to be a complete opposite, but has been really valuable for getting through this immediate time. And then where we are now is looking to the future as cruise ships are coming back online, and now we have a vaccine, and we're looking to really start to bring back the events industry. We're excited to return back to our original intent of helping people to connect with one another. So that's really what we have on the future. So now I'm gonna jump into how I got here, right? So I'm doing all these things. How did I get here? I'm 26, running my company, making wearable technology, doing the thing that I love. It started when I was really young. So does anyone know what this is? You can yell it out, and I'm gonna take a bite out of my sandwich while someone yells it out. What are you looking at?
Crochet.
Exactly. So why is this relevant to me starting a company? Crocheting was the first skill that I used to create a company. My grandmother knew how to crochet. I was really intrigued as a 5th grader. I asked her to teach me. She did. And so I started making crocheted bracelets, which is kind of ironic, I guess, or coincidental, because I'm now, creating wristbands in my company. But I started creating these crocheted bracelets, and I would go into school, and people thought that they were really interesting, and they would ask me to create some for them. So I would take orders in my little notebook. I would charge them like $0.25, and I would create them wristbands. And that was my first business. And then on top of that, I discovered that, I had an idea of monogramming them. So I taught myself how to in-stitch, basically, and put their initials on these crocheted wristbands and charge them a premium. So I already started to learn some of the ins and outs of business in 5th grade, right? Just doing something that I thought was interesting, and discovering that other people thought that how I explored my interests was cool to them, so much so that they were willing to pay for it. So from there, I kept on trying different things, just things that I was interested in. I would, create origami. Middle school, I really got into origami and would create these different intricate intricate objects. And again, started another little side hustle, if you will, and would sell origami ninja stars to all the little middle school guys in my classes, because they thought they were so cool, and they would throw them around the school, and they didn't spend the time to learn how to create it, and it was worth it to pay me. And so yeah, that was my second little business. And then from there, I learned how to program. So I'm really interested in technology. I love wearable technology, and I started learning how to program on old computers. But one of the things that I learned how to program was a TI-83. Does anyone know what a TI-83 is? I'll be really impressed if you do, because I don't think you need it in today's world. But if someone knows it, yell it out.
Is it a calculator?
It is a calculator. How do you know what that is, a calculator? Do you need it for school these days? You could probably just use a computer. You can use like Wolfram.
I'm a school
Wow, you have one.
And I have to have certain models for testing, so I know what they are.
Awesome, awesome, cool. We got a good range of people here. So yes, there's a calculator. That was the first thing, or not the first thing, but one of the first things I learned how to program. And again, another side hustle. I programmed a program to calculate what the factors of a number was. So like 24, the factors are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, 24. And so this is important because when you're doing algebra in like high school, you need to know what the factors of a number are in order to do the FOIL method when you're factoring a polynomial, right? Blah, 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 blah. It made taking tests easier. So people would pay for me to put this program onto their calculator. So now I started to I started to improve in, one, being able to solve problems, but also two, commercialize my solutions to those problems as well. So yeah, really just learning day by day in different experiences. It really wasn't anything that was crazy. It was just little by little, always learning, always just, feeding the appetite I had for technology and my interest in entrepreneurship. So then after high school, I went to college. So this will be particularly interesting for those of you who are juniors and seniors, probably more so juniors who are looking into college now. My story is kind of interesting. I really wanted to go to Johns Hopkins University. I didn't mention this. I'm not from Pittsburgh. I'm from Baltimore. So Johns Hopkins is in Baltimore, and has always been in my purview. And it's always been a place that I was interested to go to. I applied there. I got in. It was too expensive. I couldn't go. Wah, wah. I was a little bit sad. I got into UMBC, which is University of Maryland, Baltimore County, and decided to go there, and ended up being what I look back on now as being the better decision, because as a result of going to UMBC, I got the Meyerhoff Scholarship I got the Meyerhoff Scholarship, which some of you may be familiar with. It is a program that facilitates and nurtures students, underrepresented students in STEM, to get PhDs. And here I am on one of the brochures. So look at me marketing. The Morehouse Scholarship Program is a very valuable program that I would suggest to juniors and also seniors if you haven't figured out where you're going yet. If you're interested in higher education and pursuing PhD in the STEM field, and STEM is the acronym, stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. It was really great in the sense that they're really good at helping you, right? Because you're going into undergrad, you're going into college, not knowing anything, and it can be pretty daunting. And there definitely are techniques to help you be successful in college, which will help set you up for going into graduate school and being successful there as well. So this program is really valuable at just giving you guidance and bringing people like me back to talk to you about how I did it. And today, I'm not really gonna go into it. I'm also being long-winded, so I'm gonna try and move through my next couple of slides a little bit quickly. But this program is very good at, bringing people back to talk about how they did it, their experience, to really make it tangible for you and make it clear on how you can be successful in pursuing your passion for, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics if you do have that passion. So I'm gonna move on to REUs, and I'm gonna move this really quickly. So these were things that I, research experience for undergraduates that I did during the summer. Basically, they pay you but anywhere between $3,000 and $6,000 to go to a university for a summer, probably a 12-week time period, and work on research, which is really valuable. It's really just a win-win-win-win-win. You get to work on research that is going to make you smarter and more knowledgeable about science and what is being worked on. You'll be able to put that on your resume. You're getting paid, and if the program that you go to is a structured program, because sometimes there's unstructured programs and structured programs. If it's a structured one, it will be one that facilitates you going to interesting places in whatever area you're in. So I mean, I actually did one of mine at Johns Hopkins, so it was sort of serendipitous that I found myself back at Johns Hopkins, and the place that was too expensive for me to go to, and they ended up paying me for my first summer REU. But it was structured, so they would take us around Baltimore and take us to different places, take us to restaurants. We would have, socials with the other students that were participating in the REUs. So really, these are great experiences, and I'm not going to go into the research that I did, but it was Bluetooth-based, and it was wearable technology, basically. So I loved it. I did another REU the following summer at the University of Maryland. Again, I don't have the time to go into detail on it, but it was more in the mechanical engineering field. So again, another thing that's important about these REUs is that it exposes you to different types of research, which better helps you figure out what you're interested in, right? Because you're going into college and maybe you know what you want to major in, maybe you don't. But even if you do know what you want to major in, you probably don't know where you want to focus in. Because even in a major, there are so many subcategories that you can get into. It's really helpful to get exposed to as many of them as possible so you can figure out, where it is you want to really pursue and what path you want to go down. So these are really helpful for that. Industry work. I worked in Silicon Valley for 3 months at Cisco. It was awesome. I got to work on drones. This is only important for the fact that it was another opportunity for me to explore areas that I might be interested in. So this experience was, even though it has a physical component of working with the drone, I didn't build that drone. So it wasn't it was really more software based. So this was an opportunity for me to evaluate whether I wanted to be more software focused or hardware focused. And being a lover of wearable technology, I prefer more hardware focused tasks in that area. So this was a great opportunity for me to say, hey, like, yeah, I have done software development before, so I'm confident in my passion for more physical engineering development. So then I went to graduate school. I went to Johns Hopkins again. A really cool ride, you know, not being let in there at the beginning, but ending up there for graduate school, getting a fellowship from GEM, which funds underrepresented students in the engineering fields. Yeah, so what was exciting about that is you get a stipend. So they ended up paying me again to go there and study research. And so I'm really going to try and move through these quickly because I know we're coming up on the half-hour mark. My research at Johns Hopkins, where I'm a PhD student and hopefully finishing in the next 2 years, fingers crossed. My research is in using cameras that mimic the way our retinas work. So conventional cameras, I can't get into this. I will use way too much time. If you're interested, ask me about it. But these cameras are special because they mimic the way in which our eyes process light. And then I also work on another research project that places sensors that track movement on comatose patients to track their unconscious movements while they're in a coma to determine the likelihood that they will recover from that coma. So in wrapping up, these are a couple of pictures that has shown the development of the product that I build. The first one in the top left corner was where I started my idea. You can see how basic it is. This was something that I put around my wrist with lights. There is a clothespin in that setup there. It was very spontaneous, but you know, it worked, and it was the motivation to get to this point. So all this to say, it's okay to start small. Rome wasn't built in a day. Just follow your passion, take it day by day, and you'll get to a point where you'll realize, you know, actualize, manifest the desires and the interests that you have. So really lean into them and follow them. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to start small, and don't be afraid that you're not at the end when you start, because no one's ever at the end when they start. So I'll just wrap it up with 3 things. Oh, I'm actually doing decent on time. Oh, more pictures of happy customers. The 3 things that I'll follow up with, and I think I already started to talk about them, is that success doesn't happen overnight. Don't be alarmed that things don't work perfectly the first time. Don't give up, and continue to follow your passion. Continue to put in the effort. It will pay off. And also an important part of this is what you define to be success. Don't let anyone else define success for you. The second thing, don't let fear keep you from taking action. This is really important. You always need to be moving forward, and you'll definitely, as an entrepreneur, or really just following your passion, you're going to be put in situations where you're going to have to do something for the first time, and it many times is going to be scary. You won't know what the outcome is going to be, and it is possible that fear can keep you from moving forward. But it is important for you to not let it do that. because when that happens, you stagnate, you will not move forward, and you will not realize your passions. And then the world is, you're going to suffer for that. And the world's going to suffer for that, because if you're, moving towards your passions, you're going to develop things that are going to be amazing. They're going to change the world, and they're going to inspire other people to change the world in their way. So really, don't forget this little piece of advice, because it's pretty important. And the last thing is surround yourself with good company. Yes. Keep positivity around you. Don't allow negativity to remain in your life. It will slow you down. It will keep you from following your passion. It will keep you from having energy. It will suck the energy out of you. And you, as an entrepreneur, as someone who is going to be following their passion, you will need energy. Every day you have to make the most of it. So really surround yourself with good company. Surround yourself with people who are going to inspire you, who are going to praise you, people that you are going to praise and be inspired by, and really grow together. So with all of that, I'm going to conclude this presentation and devour my lunch. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Thank you for listening.